Joining me now here in Panama City, Congressman Castro, a member of the House Foreign Affairs Committee attending the summit here. And Congressman, thanks very much. We'll talk politics, but I want to talk about the reason we are here, which is this Latin American summit, the first one attended by Cuba because of the change in U.S. policy. You have a Cuban-American background.
Well, I'm Mexican-American.
Well, Mexican-American.
Same last name as the, yeah.
Mexican-American, but you understand the real divisions in the Hispanic and Latino communities about this.
Oh, absolutely. You know, and for 50 years, I think, in many ways, out of deference to the Cuban-American community, much of it in Florida, the United States kept a very long distance from Cuba. But President Obama, I think, has struck out to position the United States by normalizing diplomatic relations, not lifting the embargo, but normalizing diplomatic relations so that the day when the Castro regime is gone in Cuba, and bear in mind that Fidel Castro is 88 years old and his brother Raul is 83, so, you know, that time is going to be soon, we think, that the United States will be well positioned to have a strong relationship with Cuba, to help democratize Cuba and truly bring it into the fold of the countries of the world.
Was it a mistake for the White House to sanction Venezuela in the weeks preceding the summit? Because from talking to other delegations, the Costa Ricans, the Colombians, and others here are very concerned, and President Maduro from Venezuela, no hero to people believing in human rights and good economics, but in this part of the world, he is coming with all these petitions. He's going to try to stage a show, and he and the Venezuelans have been the key ally for Cuba all these years when they were so isolated.
Sure, and you know, there's no question that there's some sensitivities among the Latin American nations about the sanctions that were issued by the United States against Venezuela. But I joined Ileana Ros-Lehtinen from Florida in helping pass those sanctions. I think it was the right thing to do. The United States, I think, has sent a strong message that it will stand up to either right-wing governments or left-wing governments when they oppress their people. So I think that the sanctions were in keeping with that spirit.
Are you at all concerned that the progress towards normalization with Havana has slowed down? It had been hoped that the embassies could be opened by now. We expect the president to act on recommending to Congress that Cuba be taken off the terror list, for one thing. Is it appropriate to take Cuba off the terror list so that they can get banking privileges in the U.S. and start moving towards lifting some of the regulatory sanctions?
I believe it is. I think it's time to do that. I hope that the Congress agree so that we can open up our embassy, so that we can normalize relations. I don't think that the embargo will be gone before the Castro regime is gone, but I think that the United States will be absolutely ready so that we're not outmaneuvered by countries like Russia or China when that political moment in Cuba comes along.
Is this a moment for the U.S. with Latin America? Because we have been the outlier in summit after summit in both Democratic and Republican administrations.
Yeah, no, I think this is a new era. We're re-engaging Cuba. You know, we've taken a harder line with Venezuela, but we're committing money to the Northern Triangle, the Central American countries, and we're continuing to strengthen development here in the region.